It's not to be like the world, and not to be like the great majority of American Christians, but to be like Jesus Christ. I don't know why you're clapping. I'm talking about you.
What's wrong with you people? I'm serious.
You can't say amen, you ought to say ouch.
Hello, humblebees. Welcome to Tulips and Honey.
Hi, humblebees. Welcome back to Tulips and Honey. I'm your host, Lauren, and I'm joined today by my super sweet co-host, Becca.
Hey, guys. We got a really great episode for you today.
We're going to be doing something a little different. We've never done anything like this before. I'm really excited.
I know, me too. So we've been trying new things. Like we had a panel live last week, and we're just going to keep going. We're going to keep going.
Hopefully this new thing today will be a little bit smoother because you've got it set up on your screen, and you'll always have a lot more luck with technology than I do. So hopefully.
I think you do. I think the same of you. So maybe we're in the same boat.
Wait, we're in trouble.
Rowing along together. We don't have a steerer. We don't have the steerer guy. What's the guy up front? The guide? We don't have a guide.
We don't have a guide, and we only have one steer, so we're going in circles, but that's okay, because we still feel like we're doing something great here.
Right? And we totally wanted to laugh at each other. We talked about this right after the panel. We're like, we're going to do a funny one to laugh at each other, to laugh with.
That's right. That's right. So you guys are going to be laughing with us today. We're going to talk about, it's actually a serious subject, but like always, we like to take these serious subjects, bring them to you in a way that doesn't make you just really want to sit in the corner, pull out your hair and cry. And so that's what we're going to do with this one. We're going to be talking about several different approaches to the current pandemic. We're going to show you some clips and videos and discuss those clips and videos. If this is not your thing, if this is something that you're going to be like, that's just not helpful. You know, we hear that from time to time. This isn't helpful. This is a time to come together. Things to that nature. Zip forward to the very end. In the outline below, there should be a timestamp for the final clip. Zip to that. Listen to what I have to say about it, and then come back, and all of this will make sense because at the very end, we have a very serious reason for why we're doing this. There is something that we're trying to say and point out here, but we got to get through all of this first before we get to the serious stuff because we don't want you to sit in the corners and cry. We love you, humble people.
We love you guys. It's a funny episode, and I also want it noted from the panel that Lauren and I said some word of face stuff. What did you say again? You said to speak things into existence. Who did you say it to?
Did you say it to Justin? Now. It was either Justin or no, it was Phil. It was Phil Johnson because I remember thinking, I don't know him well enough to know if this is going to be offensive.
And it was funny.
It was too late. By that
everybody
point.
laughed. You just see this this laugh go around, and I told him it was because his audio cut out at one point, and I was like, "Oh, Phil, you had too much negative content."
Yes, that was so great. I was like,
course.
"Yes, okay, we are in this together." If we have offended Phil Johnson, at least we both offended Phil Johnson. But in the end, the most important thing that came out of that entire discussion was that Phil Johnson doesn't like pineapples on his pizza.
Knew you were going there. Knew it. And John MacArthur. He was pretty sure he has never seen John MacArthur enjoy a pineapple pizza.
I know. I need that
My heart
answer.
was broken. I was surrounded, guys, by entirely a panel, except for Dwayne, but he's never tried it. So I can't call him a fool, backer behind
Don't call people fools. That's not nice. He's not a fool. He's a wonderful brother.
Dwayne, we love you. We love your show. Thank you. It's been such an honor to have him on. And he was like texting us during it. It was so sweet. And did he help you with the audio?
Yes, yeah. He was trying to while we were doing it. He was trying to get my attention because he understands OBS and Restream and stuff like that. And so he was trying to help me throughout the whole thing. And I felt so bad because I was seeing all the comments in YouTube, so I couldn't check my text messages or anything like that. And so I was trying to fiddle with the screen, but also try to listen at the same time. And then afterwards, I saw all of his comments, and I was like, "Oh boy, it would have been really helpful if I had just stopped and looked at them."
I know, wasn't that hard? You were checking YouTube comments, and I was checking Facebook comments. So, and then, and we're trying to go through. We had an outline. We were trying to go through shout outs, questions, ask the panel. I couldn't remember what the correct order for the panel. We were trying, and we would ask a question, and then we would look back down. Unfortunately, like we'd have to look and make sure that the sound was on, and it was. but it was fun. It was really
It was
fun.
Interesting.
Yeah, Lauren, Doreen said
It
she
was sort
it
of
was
like
a blessing.
terrifying fun. Like
It was.
really bad roller coasters that are really high up, and you're not buckled in.
Yeah, and you're not buckled in. I saw some people post about it, and when Emily Macy posted, she's like, if anybody wanted to know that particular thing that Doreen likes, the RefNet. She posted about that, and I thought that was so encouraging that like Lauren and I, that episode does not represent the amount of time, especially that Lauren has put in. I helped with the graphics. I mean, leading up to that, and you came and brought it all together, and we worked so hard. She upped her internet. You upped your storage so we could handle this, and it's frustrating when it doesn't. You put so much work into it.
I was forgetting the important factor to the fact that everybody was at home and on the internet at that time, and so that was a part of like the syncing wouldn't work. Our lips weren't syncing, and so that had to do with like the internet and stuff. And then the audio was doing something weird where it was fine, and then all of a sudden it would like echo, and it was crazy. But we're gonna get the hang of that. We're just gonna keep on working on it and see if we can maybe bring But our wonderful panelists, they didn't know, so that was good.
Yeah, they did. They just kept going. It was great.
Yeah.
So
we had a blast.
Yeah, it was really encouraging. It's a little over an hour. We got some of them to stay a little longer.
Yeah,
so
we totally did. Doreen, Susan Heck, and Justin Peters all stayed longer, and Phil Johnson stayed too for a little bit afterwards. But it was a blessing to get to talk to them and ask them those questions. And we're going to keep on trying to deal with this in a balanced way, because we feel like we're seeing and we're about to show you a lot of imbalance, right? Like,
yes,
some of what we're fixing to show you is the imbalance.
Yes, I know. I can't wait to make you laugh with this one. This video is the only way to put on the full armor of God, y'all. You ready?
Okay, let's do it then. I'm ready. Okay. Let me pull the screen. Okay. For everybody that's listening, this is going to be a different way that we usually don't do things this way, but you are now going to be seeing Becca's screen here. She has her screen.
It's the only way to put on the armor of God. Are you ready?
Armor of God. Okay.
Put on salvation as your helmet and take the sword of the Spirit, which is the Word of God, Jesus Christ. So put on the armor of God, Jesus Christ. We love you, God, so we do it for God, Jesus Christ. Belt of truth, Jesus Christ. We love you, God.
Yes.
Chestplate.
Yes.
Jesus Christ of righteousness. We love you, God.
This is how you do it.
Shoes of peace. Conquer the enemy. God. Jesus Christ, we love you, God. So we do it for him. Shield, Jesus Christ, of faith, voice. Jesus Christ, we love you, God. The helmet of salvation.
Yes. Yes.
Oh, he got his hat on. Okay.
Look, there's the enemy. Look, there's the enemy. So we hold up the sword of truth. Jesus Christ. Love you, God.
I've never seen
it before. Jesus Christ. And we fight that holy war. And we win. Jesus Christ, I love y'all. Jesus Christ. Continue fighting that good fight and loving each other. And just letting everybody know that Jesus Christ is the way, the truth, and the life. And all those who come to him will live eternal.
What do you think, Betsy?
Wow. Okay. So he's got some great energy.
I did not know that's how you put on the full armor of God.
Is he being serious though, or is he joking?
They had him on some church, and because he's from California, he's an ex-gang member, I believe, and they had him at a church do the exact same thing. It's just not as funny because it's like on a stage, and there's better music in the background. It's kind of more fitting. This in his home is hilarious. Jesus Christ.
I thought maybe it was a joke.
the breastplate of righteousness and the chest. Those are my favorite. And the sword.
The sword.
Gotta fight the
He's
enemy.
so serious. Okay. I thought like it was a joke, but if he's being serious, that's not actually how you put on the full armor of God, and that's not going to protect you from the virus.
That's not how you do it.
It's not how any of this works.
That's not what this means.
But
y'all.
I love his energy. It's a no for me, bro. But I love the energy, and come back next year, keep practicing, and but it's a no for me.
Yes, I'm hoping he finds like reform rap. And
hey, I think if he did that, this would be fantastic. That was hilarious, and I absolutely loved it. I just how do people have that much energy? I'm like exhausted after I climb the stairs. Okay.
Okay, no. How do you listen to so many podcast sermons, books, and articles in one day?
Because I don't have to go anywhere to do that. I don't have to do any exercise.
When I go for a walk, that's the only time that I can like listen to podcasts. I've been trying to while I make memes. I'm like, I still suck at this. Like, I can't focus on two things.
You're doing a great job, though. It's okay.
Ditto. I've been telling Lauren I'm not going to catch up to her till we're in heaven. Even then, I'll still be like, I'm chasing after you, Lauren. Coming.
But at least you go on walks. You're going to be healthier. You'll definitely live longer than me.
Is it like heaven, like Jesse Duplantis described of heaven?
Yes.
Like
you're
that?
just going to ski lift yourself up there. And
Hi, David.
Which video are we doing next?
Yeah. Okay. I think I have like one more funny one.
Yes. Yeah.
Okay.
By the blood of the Lamb, by the blood of the Lamb, God, I pray, healing. I pray, deliverance. Yes, Lord. Yes, Lord. Yes, Lord. Yes, Lord.
Hey, you gotta look at
Yes, Lord. Yes, Lord. Yes, Lord. Yes, Lord. Yes, Lord. Karamosharadanda rabasha karabamanda diasa. Uratatatata lamoho shakaya. Yes, Lord, have your way, have your way, have your way, have your way.
I can't believe this happened.
Jablinski, first of all, you're the first one to ever get this tour. Okay. Oh my God! Dude, what an honor! I know. Hey, I just wanted to get this here on your food. You want to get this here on your food?
Hallelujah. Hallelujah.
Minecraft.
Lord God, touch this right now. Touch this situation. Touch this situation by the power of God. Touch this situation by
Apparently,
the
he's
power
got
of
a
the
whole
Holy
video
Ghost.
why
By the anointing, by the anointing, by the anointing, by the anointing.
Thank you for whoever made this.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, and there are video. He actually like has an official video up of why he was checking his phone.
Oh well,
which I didn't
yeah,
watch,
of course. He had to have some kind of lame excuse. But what gets me is where he's just like he's obviously not paying attention and he's just going, like what happened there, bro? Where'd you go? You went somewhere else because you weren't over here. What was happening?
Yes, isn't that the Chris Roseburow's always talking about Sean Boltz, and he had to recently just cancel his prophetic tour, and he was like, "Why didn't you know that this would happen?"
Yeah, how did you not see this coming? I don't understand. Well, this is great. We're not going to play it, but I had it in the email. This is what cracks me up so much is I found an actual video of Joseph Prince claiming that he predicted.
Oh, I saw. Yes.
Prophesied this happening in 2018, and what I thought was ironic about that is because there's a lot of stuff. There's like a lot of nonsense going around that there's like a Korean show that talked about this. There was a Simpsons episode, Nostradamus, all this other stuff that's going on, and here's Joseph Prince, and he even plays the clip of himself saying back in 2018.
Yes, I know. It's not
that
weird
there's
or
going to
anything.
be another, like, another virus. And I'm like, well, that's not a prediction. That's
Yeah.
science. Duh. Of course there's going to be another virus. Like that. And, but by the way, that's not even something that he personally predicted. That is something that people in Asia were preparing for because they were hit so hard by the last one. Like that's just something that they knew was going to happen. And the reason the coronavirus thing was even brought up in that like Netflix show is because in South Korea they were preparing for this already. Figured that this was going to be the next big problem. So that's like it's not a prediction, it's science. It's just the science was already showing
he was so proud of himself.
But if you can finally point to one prediction, one prophecy,
I know,
that came, right?
that's all they need, and it's so vague. I forgot what do they call it? Like it's so vague. It's like I forget what it's called, but it's like an umbrella or you make your net so wide you're going to be able to catch anything.
That's what they do. There's somebody out there right now listening that has a pain in their left shoulder. Like there's a lot of people with pains in their shoulder. Okay, that's like half the population. Okay, like seriously, that's not a real prophecy. Yes, so this is the problem, right? Like you've got these guys out there, and unfortunately now everybody is always watching all the time, and so they're getting caught in this nonsense, like him checking his phone, and he's like, well, I just had to check to see who I was praying for, and I'm like, no, you weren't praying for anybody. You were just making noise. Okay, there was no content being spoken. What?
That was like he's still going. And he's like, literally, you see his thumb? He's scrolling, and he's like, and he's got his eyes like. Okay, I want us up. Have you noticed almost every like false teacher that we've seen? A lot of them they'll dye their hair. They're so afraid. And Kenneth Copeland, he like said he's gonna live till 120. They're so scared about leaving this world because it's so comfortable to them.
Right. Exactly. Oh, that is such a good point. Hagen said that too. That's probably where he got it from.
Oh, that's
and he
right.
died at like 86. So
that didn't happen.
Yeah, that's probably where Kenneth Copeland got it from. But they're terrified of getting older. They're terrified of dying, and I would be too, because if your best life is now, then you're not going to enjoy the next one. So I would be scared too. But hopefully, prayerfully, God will lead these people to repentance, because they have led so many people astray, and they are under the James 2 issue. They are pretending to be teachers. They're pretending to be preachers, and so that puts them under a higher condemnation, and that's frightening. I would be afraid too. But this is the kind of nonsense where you have to wonder: do they really even believe any of this stuff? Some of them do. Some of them believe what they're saying, I think. But this guy, I don't think so. Yeah, I don't think so. That's like praying while you're in the bathroom going potty. Really not, right?
I post when I'm in the potty.
That's okay. Like the reverence that we should show in prayer, just my own personal opinion. Can't find that in scripture, but I wouldn't do that going to the bathroom, and I certainly wouldn't do that while I was scrolling through my phone. That would just be like right now while we're talking about a really super serious topic, and people are dying, and I'd just be like,
exactly.
That's right. Yeah, people are dying.
And they're so unloving for not stopping this pandemic and for not rebuking it like they say they can. Like that's right. I'm going to pull one of yours. Which one do you want to do?
We can do the first one. Okay. Let me set this up though. Like while you're pulling it up, I'm going to set this up. So I have 2 videos from the same person on the list.
Because we have the name of Jesus. Oh, thank you, Jesus.
Okay. Sorry.
Okay, I just want to point out that this one that we're fixing to listen to came after the one that we're going to listen to next. Okay. I just want to make that point. This is an important point, that this video here that you're about to watch was released a couple of days ago. So we're recording this on April 1st. Yeah. So just
April
so everybody knows, April Fool's Day today. Here is the first video that I wanted to play, and then we can listen to the next one.
Okay.
Yeah. These two kind of go together.
Standing in the office of the prophet of God,
I execute judgment on you, COVID-19. I execute judgment on you, Satan, you destroyer, you killer, you get out, we break your power, you get off this nation. I demand judgment on you. I demand a vaccination to come immediately.
Yes.
Who are you demanding, though?
You done.
Satan.
I call you gone. You come down from your place of authority, destroyer. You come down and you crawl on your belly like God commanded you when he put his foot on your head in the Garden of Eden.
What? Okay, you can stop it there. Okay, that's the part that I was saying whenever I sent this to you. I was talking about how he's just totally destroying scripture. Okay, the prophecy that was going to happen was in the Garden of Eden. Didn't happen in the Garden of Eden. Okay,
Right.
Christianity 101, the very basics, first books of the Bible, y'all. I mean, I don't know what else to tell you. That's not how scripture works, and you don't get to demand anything from anybody because you're a person and
preach
God.
it. What should I say? So, preach it, teach it, sister.
Teach it. Okay, so that was a couple of days ago, but the one that I wanted to play next is important because this one was done in March 19th, which means what, 2 weeks ago? Just about by the time this is playing, it'll be over 2 weeks ago that he does this video. And so what I think is really crazy is you see this continuing behavior. But why would it be necessary? Because as you're going to see in the next video, Kenneth Copeland already took care of the virus. So why would you need to continue to demand? Why would you need a vaccine if you've already taken care of?
I love you're connecting the dots. I'm like, yeah, right. Like, I'm remembering our old selves back in, like, Word of Faith days. And I'm like, yeah, how did I not think about that? If you're calling forward for a vaccination, then why don't you just... First off, why didn't you warn people, and why didn't you just rebuke it before it happened?
Right. And now that it happened and you rebuked it, we shouldn't need a vaccine.
Right?
Okay, this is before the first one that we played. So listeners, just understand, he said this a couple of weeks before the last video. So
here we go.
At 9:24. Now, Gloria and my usual routine is we go to bed early and listen to a couple of messages, but Brother Hagin, watch the 700 Club, by 10:30, turn the light out. Well, we had just listened to Brother Hagin, that first message, and suddenly the word of the Lord came to me. So I jumped up and got my notepad and wrote it down. 9:24. This disease called COVID-19 will be over much sooner than you think. Christian people all over this country praying have overwhelmed it. Give me all the glory, saith the Spirit of grace. And many, many people will come to know me through it. I'm still Lord over this nation. I'm on the throne, and faith in me changes things. Glory to God.
You sit on a throne of lies.
You sit on a throne of lies.
Gosh, I don't even like hearing him. Like, it breaks my heart.
Yeah. But what is fascinating to me is at the end he's talking about how God is still sovereign, which is ironic because that goes against everything that they actually believe. They don't actually believe that God is sovereign. So if you were to press them on this, anytime that they say God is still in control, he's still on the throne, you say, well, why didn't God just stop COVID from happening then? Why the virus at all? Oh, that was all Satan, and Satan caused this. Then God's not sovereign, Satan is.
Right.
Is you can't have it both ways. Either God is in control or he's not in control. But this happened 2 weeks before he demanded a vaccine and demanded, COVID to go away. So somewhere something's not working.
Little fishy.
I don't know.
It's a little fishy.
Maybe they're not building enough hedges. Maybe the hedges aren't big enough.
They're not cutting them. They're not pruning.
Right. It's gotta be, yes. Okay. That does explain it. If you don't prune your spiritual hedges, how are they supposed to grow?
Which there is a really great Doreen episode recently who she had Jim Osmond on. He has a really great book called Territory and something. I forget.
Is it? I hope maybe we can get him on for that. I loved that book.
Yes. Yeah, it's a great book. I didn't get to finish it yet because I have it on Kindle, but I was thinking about buying the actual. I just do better with an actual copy.
Right.
But he was just on Doreen, and she was asking about he talks about it. He talks about hedges. Like that is, I think they just take a scripture out of context.
Truth or territory.
Yes.
Truth or territory, a biblical approach to spiritual warfare. And this is, Jim Osmond was Justin Peters' old pastor whenever he was in Idaho. And so his whole thing, and you can go in, you can watch, there's a video series of Justin Peters with Jim Osmond. They're talking about this. They're going through it bit by bit. So if you can't afford the book, or you just prefer to watch things like that, there are videos out there. Maybe we can link to them below so you guys can see them. And he's explaining the way that people are getting spiritual warfare wrong and how it actually works biblically. And I was blown away whenever I heard it. I was like, oh my goodness. Yes. I think we were just starting the podcast when I got to listen to that.
Oh,
this
really?
Changes
nice.
Everything. When you actually understand it, it's a lot easier to prune those hedges. That's chapter 4 in his book. Chapter 4, Prune the Hedges.
Oh, nice.
Yes, this is the part where I was talking about at the very beginning, that if you didn't want to hear all of the goofy stuff that we were going to be showing, you should skip to this part, because we are now going to be discussing a little bit more serious side of this, that there is a reason why we're showing you this, because these guys, and unfortunately even some solid people, are suggesting that we should just continue to go to church, we should continue to meet, we should continue to act like nothing is happening. So we pulled a quick video to really go through the science of the virus. And something that Becca and I have talked about a few times before is people keep talking about Martin Luther and how he handled the plague and things to that nature. And we have a lot better of a grasp of the science behind a virus right now. The plague, it destroyed and decimated a massive population. If they had known at the time that it could be prevented, do you really think that they wouldn't have tried to prevent it? Honestly, do you think somebody, because the reason why Luther and Calvin were going to people's houses during the plague was because those people were lost and there was no other way to get the gospel to them. And they didn't understand. Right. They didn't understand. Yeah. If we know now, put on a mask, put on some gloves, and really try to take good care to stay 6 feet away from people like that, why would you not do it? So this is going to be a quick video that's just going to help explain what's going on with the coronavirus, how it affects our lungs. And of course, I have a very biased opinion about this. My husband is dealing with this in the hospitals every day that he goes to work, and he's seeing how really just it's awful. It's an awful way to die. It's not. I wouldn't wish this on any enemy. I don't have any enemies, but I wouldn't wish this on anybody. The worst of the worst. I wouldn't wish this on Hitler. I wouldn't wish this on anyone, because you'll see. We'll just roll. Let's roll with it.
Okay.
It's awful.
Is the last one this one? Scientific.
Yeah. This is SARS-CoV-2. It belongs to the family of coronaviruses, named for the crown-like spikes on their surfaces. SARS-CoV-2 can cause COVID-19, a contagious viral infection that attacks primarily your throat and lungs. What actually happens in your body when you contract the coronavirus? What exactly causes your body to develop pneumonia? And how would a vaccine work? The coronavirus must infect living cells in order to reproduce. Let's have a closer look. Inside the virus, genetic material contains the information to make more copies of itself. A protein shell provides a hard protective enclosure for the genetic material as the virus travels between the people it infects. An outer envelope allows the virus to infect cells by merging with the cell's outer membrane. Projecting from the envelope are spikes of protein molecules. Both a typical influenza virus and the new coronavirus use their spikes like a key to get inside a cell in your body, where it takes over the cell's internal machinery, repurposing it to build the components of new viruses. When an infected person talks,
Okay, I just gotta say really quickly, wow, the amazing creation of God is just insane. The cellular machines, I did a full series on that. I don't remember how many there are, but like I went through all the little machines, because inside our body really are like these little teeny tiny molecular machines, and they do like your cell looks like an actual city. And it's got all these moving parts, these little moving parts. Sometimes they even have legs. It's amazing. But I just wanted to point that out really, really quickly, that one of the reasons I'm such a dork whenever it comes to stuff is that is amazing. Look at that. Look at that. That's so cool. Most of the bacteria and viruses and stuff, by the way, they don't actually have negative impacts. Like you can see bacteria, without it, we wouldn't be able to like break down our foods and stuff. So there was obviously a clear purpose in the creation for these things. Since the fall, they are now not doing the good things they were designed to do, but they do the terrible things like this. So I'm sorry, I just had to say that.
I love that. I know I've seen that clip where there's that thing. It's like moving one thing to another cell, and it's like it has legs.
And it's walking. And there's a machine building the street underneath its feet. And what I love about the little machine inside your cell that's building these streets is then it takes the streets apart on its own without being told by anything. It doesn't have a brain. It's just taking these streets apart, and then it builds the street somewhere else.
It's so
and it's all happening in like a tenth of a second. That's happening in your body in like 2 million different cells all at the same time.
God is so awesome.
Right? Okay, I'm sorry. We keep going. Totally dorking out.
Love it. I love your dorkiness. I love it.
Coughs or sneezes, droplets carrying the virus may land in your mouth or nose and then move into your lungs. Once inside your body, the virus comes in contact with cells in your throat, nose, or lungs. One spike on the virus inserts into a receptor molecule on your healthy cell membrane like a key in a lock. This action allows the virus to get inside your cell. A typical flu virus would travel inside a sac made from your cell membrane to your cell's nucleus that houses all its genetic material. The coronavirus, on the other hand, doesn't need to enter the host cell nucleus. It can directly access parts of the host cell called ribosomes. Ribosomes use genetic information from the virus to make viral proteins, such as the spikes on the virus's surface. A packaging structure in your cell then carries the spikes in vesicles which merge with your cell's outer layer, the cell membrane. All the parts needed to create a new virus gathered just beneath your cell's membrane. Then, a new virus begins to bud off from the cell's membrane. Now, with the virus spreading in your body, how can you develop pneumonia symptoms? For this, we'll have to look into your lungs. Each lung has separate sections called lobes. Normally, as you breathe, air moves freely through your trachea or windpipe, then through large tubes called bronchi, through smaller tubes called bronchioles, and finally into tiny sacs called alveoli. Your airways and alveoli are flexible and springy. When you breathe in, each air sac inflates like a small balloon. And when you exhale, the sacs deflate. Small blood vessels called capillaries surround your alveoli. Oxygen from the air you breathe passes into your capillaries, and then carbon dioxide from your body passes out of your capillaries into your alveoli so that your lungs can get rid of it when you exhale. Your airways catch most germs in the mucus that lines your trachea, bronchi, and bronchioles. In a healthy body, hair-like cilia lining the tubes constantly push the mucus and germs out of your airways, where you might expel them by coughing. Normally, cells of your immune system attack viruses and germs that make it past your mucus and cilia and enter your alveoli. However, if your immune system is weakened, like in the case of a coronavirus infection, the virus can overwhelm your immune cells, and your bronchioles and alveoli become inflamed as your immune system attacks the multiplying viruses. The inflammation can cause your alveoli to fill with fluid, making it difficult for your body to get the oxygen it needs. You could develop lobar pneumonia, where one lobe of your lungs is affected, or you could have bronchopneumonia that affects many areas of both lungs. Pneumonia may cause difficulty breathing, chest pain, coughing, fever and chills, confusion, headache, muscle pain, and fatigue. It can also lead to more serious complications. Respiratory failure occurs when your breathing becomes so difficult that you need a machine called a ventilator to help you breathe. These are the machines that save lives and that medical device companies currently ramp up production for. Whether you would develop these symptoms depends on a lot of factors, such as your age and whether you already have an existing condition. While this all sounds scary, the push to develop a coronavirus vaccine is moving at high speed. Studies of other coronaviruses led most researchers to assume that people who have recovered from a SARS-CoV-2 infection could be protected from reinfection for a period of time. But that assumption needs to be backed by empirical evidence, and some studies suggest otherwise. There are several different approaches for a potential vaccine against the coronavirus. The basic idea is that you would get a shot that contains faint versions of the virus. The vaccine would expose your body to a version of the virus.
Praying for a vaccination.
Well, Kenneth Copeland took care of that already, so we're good. He's managed that. If you guys want to finish that video, it's linked down below. But we really just wanted to show you what was happening in the body so you can understand the seriousness of what we're talking about. Because if you're like me, then you're probably not all that concerned about it affecting yourself because we're maybe younger, we don't have any pre-existing conditions. But we have a dear sister, Brooke, who we've had on the program before. You can check out that episode by clicking the card above. And she does have autoimmune issues. She's not going to be able to fight this off the same way we are, even though we're very similar in age. It's different for her. It's different for a lot of people. Anybody that has asthma, COPD, these are people that are they could be any age, they could be young, they could be older. And the problem, what we're seeing, and this is why it was so important that I wanted to show that video, so that we could really get down to like the nitty gritty of this, is that this virus, the reason why it's different than the flu and it's different than other viruses that we faced in the past, is that it's drowning people in their own fluids. Those fluids are there for a good cause. Like if you've ever had like a lot of drainage happening and stuff, it's because something is inflamed, probably from allergies. And so the fluid is there to make sure that things don't get
like
stuck.
it's protected. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. But if you have too much of that fluid, and it starts to stay in those little evoli. I always think of like ravioli for some reason.
I know, me too. I do too.
Yeah, really? Twinkies. Oh, I love it. That's what's causing the problems, though. You have to be able to keep those. Those are too small for a respiratory therapist or a ventilator to be able to get in there. But if you think of your lungs as like a balloon, when you take a deep breath, and then the balloon is expanding, and then you take a deep breath out. Think about like if you were to fill a balloon with like molasses, it would be a lot harder to blow that balloon up. And that's what that mucus does, is it's sticky. And so whenever the lungs deflate, it's harder and harder to inflate back up. And those little nodules are where things go wrong really quickly, because then your body isn't getting oxygenated. And the problem is that a person can be okay one day with the virus, and then the next day they just like that, the fluid just overwhelms them. And so it's just a very difficult thing for us to fight, and our bodies don't have any immunities to it because we haven't ever faced this here. And so the reason why we're passionate, Becca and I are passionate about warning people to maintain 6 feet, keep your hands washed, and for Pete's sakes, until they say it's safe, stop meeting for public service. Is because this is worse than the flu whenever it comes to death rates, and it's worse than the flu whenever it comes to transmutation. So if you have it and it doesn't affect you all that much, maybe you just feel like you've got like a really bad upper respiratory infection, that's terrible, and it's still gonna be really, really uncomfortable. But you could affect 3 to 4 people, because it's easier for people to catch this than the flu. Whereas the flu, you might infect like 1 person tops. I've had the flu twice.
Yeah, I know.
Haley and I got the flu together one year, and I got the flu on my own the next year. Nobody got it from me either time.
But so you're saying this coronavirus is a pyramid scheme?
It's like a pyramid. Yes, it learned from Kenneth Copeland how to
And then you get these people. So sorry, people. I was just trying to crack a joke. Like it's so crazy with this coronavirus. Like it's still spreading. It's mutating really fast. And we have to take this seriously. I don't think we should be talking about how soon can we get back to church. We should be thinking about how we are to serve those brothers and sisters who have immunosuppressive disorders, and also those who might have it, or their family has it, or their friends have it, actually have the coronavirus. What ways can we be serving them right now is
right.
a huge question we should be considering and talking about.
Or how can we help one of the 50 million people that just lost their jobs in this country?
Right. Oh my gosh, yes.
That's a big issue.
Right?
There's so many things, and we're not discouraging church. Like Becca and I both fully agree. Church is something that we love. We enjoy fellowship. We want to encourage other people to be members of churches. And we also don't want to discourage you from continuing to give to your local pastor. Reach out to your pastor, encourage your elders, encourage your pastor, because I'm sure that this is a very discouraging time for them.
Mm-hmm.
We're just saying that the churches that are still meeting, whether or not they're meeting because they don't want to listen to government rule or because they don't want to believe that their faith isn't strong enough. Either way, like this whole episode started after we heard about the Rodney Howard Brown thing, where he just refused to listen and eventually had warrants out for his arrest because he kept on meeting.
Yes. I thought that was good of Florida, whatever the county he's in, decided and put out warrants for his arrest, because that would just be horrible knowing that you got sick, but then also giving it to someone else.
Right.
And he full knowing that it's just terrible. It's a word of faith what we came out of. Straight up.
It is. The thing is, the really, really confusing thing to me about all of this is that if you have AIDS and you knowingly spread that on purpose, you are charged with homicide in this nation. Like that is a thing. If you were to have the coronavirus and knowingly go out and cough on people, I don't know what would happen, but I do feel like that should be something that should be addressed legally, because you are actually infecting people. Now, if you don't know that you have it and you are running low on toilet paper and you don't have any other choice but to go out and try to find some toilet paper, we're not condemning that at all. What we're talking about is people who are being irresponsible, the elders, the leaders in churches that are being irresponsible. And guys, those chairs in your church service are really close together, okay? And what's the first thing the pastor says? Turn around and shake somebody's hand.
Right? I know. Seriously. Like, and if you do get sick, or someone gets sick, or you know someone that gets sick, this is a great opportunity for the church, for them to call the church and say, can you send supplies over to my house? You can put it at the doorstep, walk away, and that way that person's not having to go into the community to get supplies. That could be an option. So
and check on your widows and your elderly people in your congregation, because somebody pointed out to me the other day that a lot of them don't know how to live stream. So if you could call them and help them set that up, if you could call and just help them even be able to use that feature, that would be a blessing too. Make sure that you're checking to see if they can even do that, because some of them can't. They don't know how.
Yeah, we barely know how.
I know. We literally failed hardcore at that the other day, but we
today we did. We just figured out how to screen share.
Yeah, it's cool too. I like the screen share. We're not trying to like condemn anybody or say, people should be put in prison, but we are just very concerned by the lack of love for their neighbors that people are having. They're saying, I want to have service, and so I'm going to have service. Jesus pointed to an ox, and he said, which one among you, if your neighbor's ox was to fall in a ditch, would you not go and fix that? He talks about David whenever he was hungry. He entered the temple. I know words. The temple. And ate the bread that wasn't lawful for him to eat. And he talks about how he's healing people on the Sabbath. He did that a lot. The Sabbath was made for man, not man for the Sabbath. And so this isn't permanent. If this was something where the government was saying you can never, ever meet again, then I'd be right there with you guys. I would just be loaded up, gun-toting right alongside you. But that's not what's happening. This is a small portion of time where we can help prevent. There's a few reasons why this is helpful. And the first one is that if we can slow this down, we can give time for the vaccine. The vaccine's going to take a little bit more time. We can slow this spread down enough to give them more time for that. That would be helpful. If we can slow down the rate where the hospitals are overwhelmed, that would be helpful. And let's take this time to really, really rebuke these false teachers. Like, we have an opportunity here to really, really show the entire world that these false teachers don't represent us as Christians. They are not Christians, that the things that they're teaching are false. We have this wonderful opportunity, and everybody is home, so we can kind of reach out to them.
It is a great time that we're home and we can do YouTube and have videos and content to help. I mean, we're in a day and age and in that we have the internet, but also we're a first world country in America here, where we have those abilities to get to a grocery store, to like and have internet. Like, it's not horrible that we have to stay in our homes
Right.
and wait and stay home. And we got to think of better ways to have our time. And there are a lot of people that are still working, that are still essential to society. And we just want to say thank you so much. And to the healthcare people out there, we put out a prayer request for Lauren's husband, Justin, because he is a respiratory therapist who's actually in contact with the coronavirus patients. So let's keep praying. Let's keep helping in some way, but let's not diminish the whole. Let's get back to church as soon as possible, and also trying to say, I don't know where I'm going with that, but that it is a virus, and we don't know the statistics.
Right.
And
there's a lot we don't know yet. Like, we're still waiting to find all those things out. And if you think you can trust the information from China, like, seriously, guys, they opened up their movie theaters for like a day, and then they had to shut them all back down. I wonder why. Right. I wonder what happened that caused them to suddenly shut their movie theaters back down. Maybe because the numbers they're giving us are wrong and the virus is still there. Just an idea. Just thought. But we don't know yet. We don't know how bad this is going to get. But what we do know is that we can help. We can help even our essential workers, y'all. Yes. If you are meeting together on Sunday and you have 50, 60, 150, whatever it is, people in your congregation. I know this isn't a popular message, and I understand that we're probably going to get a little bit of pushback on this. But if you're in a place, by the way, where there still are counties that have absolutely zero cases. If you're in a place where there's zero cases, I'm definitely not talking to you. Okay, this is right. I'm talking about the big cities, like the Florida thing, where people are still meeting together. And I realize this is not a popular thing to say, but you guys are putting the essential workers at risk too, and that's our last line of defense here.
It is, yes.
We need them to be healthy.
We do.
Our police officers and our firefighters and our doctors and our respiratory therapists and our all of the people that are helping, and the janitors in the hospitals, everybody that is there doing that. We need them to be healthy. And you guys going out there and putting everybody at risk like that is not helpful. We can get over this really quickly. Like, this can be something that we can get through a lot faster.
Yeah.
Or it can take a lot longer because young people are still hanging out and throwing parties. And for some reason, certain members of churches are still congregating in large mass. That is very disturbing to me, because anytime there are solid people that are somehow in agreement with Rodney Howard-Browne, maybe time to take a step back and reevaluate.
Yes, reevaluate. If he could rebuke it, why is it still here? Like, the $1 million question to our Word of Faith people. I think if I had heard that like 10 years ago, that would have been really helpful to hear that. Like, if he can rebuke it, then why didn't you just rebuke it before it got big, or when you heard about it, when you predicted it? Like,
exactly. That is so true. That's all we're trying to say. We want to keep you guys safe. We have a lot of listeners that are immunodepressed. We have a lot of listeners that have various different issues health-wise that we're closely affected. We love these people. We love our Humblebees. We love every single one of you guys, and we want to make sure that this is still an enjoyable episode. So we do have a fun way that we're going to leave you guys with something to bring a little bit of joy to you. But we did just want to make sure that we made this clear, that we tried as hard as we could. We're imploring everybody out there that is still meeting in large mass, because of your neighbor, because of love for your neighbor. Give preference to them. Listen, every time I go to the store, which I do have to do from time to time, I wear really uncomfortable medical gloves. And they're really hot, and I have sensory issues, sensory overload.
Right. So it's extra.
it's an extra issue for me, but who cares? I'll just be uncomfortable. If I have a panic attack when I get back to the truck, I'll have a panic attack when I get back to the truck. It's better for me to do that because my husband is working in the hospitals and I'm more exposed or likely to be exposed. I would much rather be uncomfortable for an hour than risk exposing. And listen, every single time I go, listeners, the majority of people that I'm seeing at the grocery stores are still the elderly people that are at the highest risk, which means our communities are going to have to do a better job of reaching out to them and seeing if we can shop for them, if we can send them whatever they need. But we have a lot of options. But I'm just saying that we need to give preference. We need to be loving. Every single human being on this earth is an image bearer. They are an image of God, and that matters. It's important. It's the sanctity of life. If you fight for pro-life causes, this is right along the same lines. Let's make sure that we're not risking people's lives just because we don't want to be uncomfortable. Momentary uncomfort is well worth it to keep these people alive.
People alive, all for His glory. Which Sola Deo Gloria, you got a shirt on.
Sola, I do.
So
I am.
cute.
I'm totally wearing the Sola Deo Gloria shirt.
Oh, it's so cute.
There you go.
That's
right.
Love.
Everything we do for His glory. That's why we are doing this episode. Hopefully we don't get too much hate mail, but just remember, if you do send us hate mail, it is going to go directly to our producer, Clementine, the Golden Doodle. And we will
have a picture of him, or of Clementine, like, on the phone.
I'm going to totally do that. I love that idea.
Yes, send me the photo, and I'll, like, make a meme of that.
Yes, I love that idea. I'm totally going to do that.
He's responding to hate mail.
Yes. So hopefully this made sense. Hopefully it was something that was helpful. Hopefully the information that we gave you was helpful. And also the videos sort of had some comedic relief. We do want to just point out that these guys are false teachers. And we are trying to remind everybody that right now is a very, very good time to let everybody that you know and love know that these are false teachers, because anybody that wasn't listening to you before, they might just listen to you now. So be sure that you continue warning. Be sure that you continue praying. If you need prayer, if you're dealing with anything, reach out to us. We want to pray for you. There's already a few people on our list of prayer that have the coronavirus or have loved ones with coronavirus that we're praying for. And we want to pray for you. We want to connect with you. We have a group on Facebook, the Tulips and Honey Hub group. Not just the page, there's a page, but there's also a group. So get with us there, and we'd love to pray for you. We'd love to hear from you guys. And we have a video. We're going to play the video and sign off. So God bless you guys. We love y'all. Bye, Humblebees.
Bye, guys.
Enjoy this music video.
Yeah. Bye, guys.
One peaceful afternoon, I picked up from my mailbox the strangest looking letter I'd ever seen. A chilling little envelope bordered with flying bats and eerie serpents whose eyes were tinted green. Now, the letter was addressed to me, so as I opened it, I froze. What I read turned my complexion 3 shades of blue. It said my name is Isaac Horowitz. I'm a male witch, a warlock. And I feel I need to spend some time with you. Now, as a Christian from a little church with God's call on my life, a man of faith and power with a challenge to grow, I did what any saint would do in my situation. I tore it up, said, Lord, no way I'm gonna go. Then gently and methodically, the Holy Spirit spoke and reminded me we're God's voice to our nation. It's the church's responsibility to witness. So reluctantly, I accepted this witch's invitation. He had the house you'd expect, the old English cottage, a nightmare on Elm Street special right to the core, the overgrown ivy, the gate that creaked when opened. Somehow you'd expect Freddy to answer his door. The doorbell rang, a hollow gong, the knob twisted, then opened. And Isaac stood before me with a grin. His jet black hair and well-trimmed beard flowed with his black silk clothes. My skin crawled as he said, please, come on in. His house was filled with every occultic symbol you could fathom. Hanging pentagrams and horoscope signs, a Ouija board and Dungeons and Dragons game set on the table, a crystal ball with an incandescent shine. Then graciously he handed me some steaming herbal tea. Its presence caused my memory to jog. I thought of every horror flick I'd seen when I was a kid and thought, man, you drink this stuff, next day you'll be a frog. Then he led me to a high-back chair as he meticulously began to unfold his scenario with evil patience. I was given a giant leather-bound book jammed with newspaper clippings, thus the reason for this witch's invitation. With eagerness, he pointed to each article with pride. He said, I healed this woman through a Babylonian chant. You see, this man, I cured him while performing druid worship. I was paid to curse this man with AIDS by his aunt. On and on, page after page, delightfully he flaunted each incident for an hour without a breath. He said, do you realize through my understanding of the dark regions that I can make you rich or even curse someone to death? I sat literally intimidated by his immensity and demon power, while his face shone with a satanic arrogant bliss. Then placing his hands on the arms of my chair and leaning into my face, he said, what can your God do to compete with this? I knew then how Moses felt when his rod turned to a serpent, and the 3 Egyptian magicians did the same. It's as if you're sitting there in that stunned moment where your faith gets violated, and all you feel is weak, powerless, and lame. I desperately and deeply prayed, saying, Jesus, give me wisdom. I don't want to put you through some foolish test. Then a shaft of light shot through my soul, igniting my eyes with fire. God stood me up, and I threw the book back in his chest. I said, Isaac, I'll not compare God's miracles versus Satan's. The issue's not God's kingdom and Satan's lair. The real comparison is the condition of your soul and the condition of mine. And you puppet of the devil, that I will compare. I said, my friend, one day they're coming for you. The soft associates in your incantations. The friendly demons you think you now control. The time will come when you'll be lying in bed, wheezing like a dying animal. When those spirits lay claim to the rights they own to your soul. Then the room will grow dark, and the most hideous evil faces you've ever seen will come flaming out of the floor with a yell. The vile informants that promised reincarnation will claw your spirit and victoriously drag your soul to hell. Then I grabbed the book and says, in that moment, which mantra, which incantation are you gonna chant to tell them to leave you alone? I said, my friend, I know beyond a shadow of a doubt what I would say. I am bought with the blood of Jesus. Let me go. I said, Isaac, when you tossed that book in my lap, you gloated with a sinister victory. You rejoiced when you saw your name in black and white. Now I rejoice, but not that your council of demons are subject to Jesus, but that my name is written in the Lamb's book of life. Then Isaac jumped up from his chair and screamed, you must leave now. I says, I will, but one last obligation. Next time, think twice before you rumble with a man of God. And by the way, thanks for your witch's invitation. You best be chill. You need the wind and the wave stand still. Cause the son of God don't pop no jive. If he said alive, he means alive. Word up. It's fish.
Thanks for listening, Humblebees. This is Tulips and Honey. Over and out.
I think that diamond still needs a little more polish.
Yeah.
I was not even in the mood for that today. Sorry. Okay.
Ogres have layers.
Everything. Ogres have
layers.
Yes.
Ogres
yes,
have
they
layers.
do.
They have a lot of
Onions
layers.
have layers. Like parfait. I love parfait.
Oh, they're not having Mishu in the new Mulan.
Oh, what?
Right?
But he was the best part.
Yeah. I can't.
That's super lame.
We're so tiny in this, though.
That's okay.
What does it look like on yours now? Do you just do the zoom?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, okay. You say so. Because we are not professional. Just to warn you, though, the videos I sent you are horrible. Sweet.
Awesome.
What did he say?
You said sweet like a dude. I love it.
Sorry. It would just allow us to go live on different.
Bestie, I love you.
I love you.
I love you so much.
So much fun.
Yes.
You ready? You ready?
Yes. Yes.